Support also comes from Willie Street Co-op, a full-service grocery store offering natural, organic, and locally produced food. With three
All right. Good evening, everybody. It's 6 o'clock. I will call the fifth regular Common Council meeting to order. Will the clerk call the roll?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Alderperson Borse.
Here.
Alderperson Bremser.
Here.
Alderperson Close.
Here.
Alderperson Decker.
Here.
Alderperson Graveen.
Here.
Alderperson Heidemann.
Glad to be here.
Alderperson Kelly. Alderperson Menzer.
Here.
Alderperson Mitchell.
Excused.
Thank you. Alderperson Perella. There are 9 present.
Thank you. If everybody could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Alder Borse, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes from the fourth regular council meeting held on May 18th, 2026.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of approval of the minutes, state aye.
Aye.
Any objections? Minutes are approved. City Clerk, anyone for public forum this evening?
We have 1 person signed up, Mr. Hans Groff.
All right, Hans, if you want to come up, name, address, the item you're speaking on, and you'll have 5 minutes.
My name is Hans Groff. I am the owner of Bohem Tavern, or Bohem Music Bar, at 1029 North 8th Street, where I reside. Law and Licensing has recommended non-renewal of my Class B liquor license. And I am here, and I appreciate their work, I appreciate their effort. So I'm not here to comment on any of that. I am just here to talk about what Bohem is, what we do, and why we matter. We are a music bar. We're focused primarily on metal, punk, alternative, emo styles of music. We keep, we want the bands that perform play original music, their own. Many of them have recordings, and they perform all over the region. And sometimes, in fact, one of them over here, Colton, is sitting right there. They perform all over the region, and bands from around the state come to perform in Sheboygan. Metal and punk styles are not for everyone, but those people who follow it get a lot out of it, and we provide a space for them. And I think as we go forward, obviously we run into trouble with our license, but I'm here to let you know that we are doing everything we can, working with Law and Licensing to keep our license right where it is, so that we can continue to offer that opportunity for local artists to perform. Performance is where the rubber hits the road when you're in music. You can practice all you want, you can play in the garage all you want, but until you have an audience and you're on stage, that's when it really, really happens. And so I just want to thank everybody here. Thank you for your time and the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. City Clerk, anyone else?
No one else this evening.
Thank you. No announcements from my end today. Next is item on the consent agenda, items 7 through 16. Alder Borse?
I move to accept and file all reports and adopt all resolutions.
Is there a second? Second. Moved in second. Any other discussion on any of the items on the consent agenda? Alder Close?
Yes, I just wanted to call attention to item number 13, which is calling for the addition of a new SRO at the alternative high school in Sheboygan. I just wanted to bring up that since this is a pressing item that has been coming up in the news, especially in Texas where they are showing a large number of new SROs coming into the area, I just wanted to have the chief go over some measures that the SPD is working on to make sure that the students are well taken care of, that there's no issues where students are where trying to think of the correct terminology, making sure that students are feeling safe in their environment at school, and making sure that the police officers are working with the school and not coming in as some kind of a force outside and imposing their own will or something like that. I know my own anecdotal experience with school resource officers wasn't great. Post-Columbine, I know personally we had some issues with school resource officers coming into the school and making sure that they were a good fit. I'm seeing great improvement in my anecdotal talks with a number of students. They have also shared that they really enjoy having the school resource officers available to them. So I want to applaud that progress has taken place, and just give you a chance to speak to the work that you're doing with the school district.
Chief Zempel, any comments?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I think it's worth pointing out that we are definitely not Texas, and that in Texas, state law actually requires a police officer in every school, and most every school district in Texas runs their own police department, which I think just creates a completely different situation, aside from obviously the political differences and community differences. So the issue that's in front of you is an update to an agreement that's been in place for a long time. We have had 5 school resource officers in total, one at each of the 2 main high schools and then one at each of the 3 middle schools for some time now. The school district approached us several years ago asking for us to add a school resource officer to the downtown schools here, to the alternative high school at the old Central High. And we, this past year, evaluated that again, that request, and determined that it was really worthwhile to expand our partnership with the school district. I can tell you that over the years that partnership has been a very, very positive one. We have a very good understanding with the school district as far as what everyone's roles are when it comes to school safety and rules violations. The understanding is that school resource officers are reserved for crimes where students have been victimized or where students are hurting others. And the vast majority of the types of cases that they're getting involved in are where school, either students or school staff have been victims of crimes. And that ultimately it's the school district's responsibility and school staff's responsibility to handle disciplinary issues. We are not getting involved in school discipline things. The other thing that just based on our conversation earlier that I think is worth mentioning is that we have done training now for about 14 years on ensuring that we police in fair and impartial ways. I know one of the concerns with cops in schools is that it can have a negative negative effect on kids' futures, sort of introducing them to the criminal justice system. I can tell you the things that our school resource officers are handling are things that other cops would be handling were it not for school resource officers, because they are reported crimes, and we have an obligation to report or to investigate and arrest offenders for crimes that are reported to us. But we have instituted policies and training for over a decade now that ensure that we're policing in fair and impartial ways. That includes training on implicit bias to minimize the impact of bias in the way that we police. We also require that our school resource officers attend training specifically recommended by the National Association of School Resource Officers when they become a new school resource officer.
Thanks, Chief. Alder Close, any follow-up?
No,
Thank
exactly.
you.
Thank you.
Alder Decker?
Yes, I just wanted to add on that. This is a great positive thing for the community. They also the resources officers also do branch out into the elementary schools. I've seen that where when there's been certain problems that have been necessary. And it's good to have that community connection with these students, and I applaud this.
Thanks, Alder Decker. Any other discussion on any of the items on the consent agenda? All right, seeing no more, this is a roll call vote.
9 ayes.
All right, those items are approved. Next, item 17. 17, resolution number 192627 by Alders Borst and Heidemann, recommending denial of an alcohol beverage tobacco license transfer from place to place and directing the drafting of summons and complaints for revocation proceedings, West Coast Cafe and Lounge. Alder Borst.
I move to adopt the resolution.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on this item? No. At this point, the motion's already been made, and you have to sign up ahead of time for public comment. Who said that? Okay. I guess that would be, the council would have to make a motion to open up the floor.
Make a motion to open the floor. Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor of opening up the floor for a question, state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, hearing none, sir, then you can come up, state your name, and you have 3 minutes.
Okay, my name is Theo Childress. I'm guessing the motion is the location of why we're moving, but it's multiple reasons why we're moving. And then I heard because it was a bookstore or something like that, but every commercial building is just a commercial building until you make it anything you wanted to make it to. We are not a bar, we're a lounge, and we're like predominantly food. So it was a couple of things that made us pick that decision to move, which is being on a very busy street so they can see that we have food there. Also, financially, it's like half the cost for us. Also, we have a landlord that's willing to help us succeed as far as helping us get a food truck, as far as any equipment that we need for our restaurant or anything like that. He was supposed to come today, but he's on vacation with his kids. But it's like a lot of decisions that came about that decision to move from Michigan Ave to a more neutral place. Also, we had problems maybe 4 years ago on Michigan Ave, which we resolved and was compliant with the city with everything that was asked. So since then, we haven't been in any type of trouble or anything like that. So we're just trying to make sure we're moving in the right steps to have a successful business. If there's any concerns about like the things that we need to have a restaurant or anything there, I mean, I guess just ask. We have a plan for that. We have the backing for that with our landlord. So, I mean, I don't really understand what would be that concern. As far as the view, we have blinds that we would put up as if the location that we have now is the same thing. We have big glass windows, so we put down blinds kind of sort of like that, and it would block the street. It's not going to be kids just looking in and see alcohol. Like, we don't have that now on Michigan Ave. So it would be the same thing if we was to go to the new location. It wouldn't be just accessible for the kids to just see alcohol in the street or something like that. It's going to be, we're a restaurant based, so that's really more so what we're going to. That's all. Thank you.
All right, any other discussion on this item? Alder Prella?
Yeah, I actually needed, please, a clarification on that too. So this is also for the number 18, is this is just administrative legal work, not revocation in itself. And I would like, if it is possible, that Attorney Majerus explains a little bit more, expands on this, please.
You're correct. These are administrative steps. This is not the due process hearing. That would be a separate opportunity preceded by the service of a summons and complaint.
Alder Prella, any follow-up?
Yes, please. So these operators, as of right now, they can keep working where they are?
An operator who has a valid license and is operating at the licensed premise may continue to do so until that license is no longer valid, whether by revocation, suspension, or expiration.
Thank you. And so the revocation will be taken into consideration only at the hearing?
Correct.
And when will that be? Just to give an idea of how long this will take and when that process will happen.
As soon as I'm able to get the paperwork done.
Very good. So the next step, possibly, I mean, I don't know, I don't know if the next LHPS committee meeting or the following one, but that will be the time that we will actually decide on the basis, which I don't even know at this point, if revoking or not. Not at this point tonight. Okay, thank you.
No, your time was already expired, so thank you. All right, any other discussion on this item? All right, seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Nine ayes.
That is approved. Next, item 18, resolution number 222627 by Alderperson Boris and Heidemann, recommending denial of a Class B liquor license renewal application and directing the drafting of a summons and complaint for revocation proceeding for Boheme. Alder Boris.
I move to adopt the resolution.
Moved in second, under discussion.
I move to amend the resolution to strike the number 3547 and change that to 3182.
All right, there's been a motion to amend to strike 3547 to, excuse, can you get the right, restate the number?
3547,
3547
to strike that and replace it with 3182.
to replace it with 3182. There's been a motion to amend. Is there a second?
3527.
Apologies. Motion currently says 3527, so we need to strike that and replace it with 3182. Apologies.
Okay, so there's been a motion to amend to strike 3527 and amend it to 3182. There's been a motion, and I hear a second from Alder Heidemann. Thank you. Under discussion on the amendment. Alder Kelly?
So just for clarification, we're looking at where it says, "Be it further resolved," in that clause, that's where we're amending this?
City Attorney?
There was an error in the resolution document. It looks like it was a cut and paste from the earlier resolution, and so this is just correcting the license reference.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Right now, there's a motion on the floor to amend. Is there any more discussion on the amendment? All those in favor of adopting the amendment, state aye.
Aye.
Any objections? Hearing none, that amendment is approved. Back to the main motion as amended. Any discussion on the main motion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote for the motion as amended.
Nine ayes.
That is approved. Next, under general ordinances, number 19, general ordinance number 22627 by Alder Close, amending the City of Sheboygan official zoning map of the Sheboygan zoning ordinance to change the use district classification of parcel number 592816295660, 2040 North Avenue from Class Urban Industrial to Urban Commercial classification. Alder Close,
I move to approve the ordinance.
is there a second? Moved and seconded. Under discussion? Seeing no discussion, this is a roll call vote.
Nine ayes.
That is approved. Next, item 20, general ordinance number 6, 2627 by Alders Mitchell and Prella, amending sections 2-374 and 2-469 of the Sheboygan Municipal Code. Alder Prella?
I make a motion to approve.
It's been moved and seconded. Under discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Nine ayes.
That is approved. Item 21, general ordinance number 4-26-27 by Alders Boris and Heidemann, amending sections 26-20, of the Sheboygan Municipal Code relating to smoking and smoking prohibited exceptions. Alder Boris.
I move to adopt the ordinance.
It's been moved and seconded under discussion. Alder Perla.
Thank you. I know where this comes from. I mean, what's the purpose of this? And I have nothing against the purpose of this change. However, to me, it sounds a little bit, the description of the surrounding is a little bit vague. And I was driving around to understand if I knew of this ordinance change, would I know where I can smoke or not? And I was wondering, for example, could I smoke by the fountain? Could I smoke sitting at a bench, which is on one side, on the east side? And the reason is that I don't want to put the community that uses the most this area to under the even more chances to get tickets or, to be in violation if they don't understand the details of the ordinance.
Police Chief.
Yes, thank you. I'm, I guess, speaking on behalf of Director Erickson from the library, since he's not here, and I wasn't aware that the alder picked up smoking. But my understanding is the plan will be for effective signage to indicate clearly to people where the area of prohibition is. Again, this is similar to state law, which prohibits smoking on school grounds. And so I think the intent is to sort of align the practice there with what happens around schools. And this comes from feedback from library patrons that the library's received about issues where they're encountering people who are sort of obstructing access to the library and engaging in behavior that is a problem or that discourages patrons from using the library. Director Erickson requested this change in response to that feedback so that his staff has an additional tool to deal with problematic behavior around the library. And as far as citations go, the understanding is that police would be contacted as a last resort, and that library staff will be addressing behavior primarily around the library, and that when people refuse to comply or otherwise causing problems, that the police would only be contacted then.
Yeah, thank you. Just a brief follow-up. No, I understand the purpose. I even had the conversation already with the director of the library, with Garrett, some long time ago about this. I understand the purpose. Again, maybe I missed the beginning of what you said. Are they going to be signs?
Yes.
Wherever it's not possible, whereas it is prohibited
Correct.
to smoke. Okay, thank you.
All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Nine ayes.
That is approved. Item 22, General Ordinance Number 5, 2627 by Alders Boris and Heidemann, amending Section 8-80 of the Sheboygan Municipal Code relating to the procedure for declaration of vicious or dangerous dogs. Alder Boris.
I move to adopt the ordinance.
Moved and seconded under discussion. Seeing none, roll call vote.
Nine ayes.
That's approved. Next, we have a contemplated closed session. Alder Boris.
I move to convene in closed session under the exemption contained in Wisconsin Statute S. 1985 1G when conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved, to wit, possible action regarding various licenses held by J.N. Cortez LLC, DBA, Mi Ranchito 2.
There's moved and seconded. This is a roll call vote.
Alder Heidemann. Nine ayes.
All right, that's approved. We will convene an open session and we'll come back in open session in a few minutes. Right, Alder Borst, do you have a motion to reconvene?
I move to reconvene in open session for discussion and possible action relating to closed session.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor of opening back up in open session, we'll call the roll call vote.
Everybody have their computers up still? Can I do this? Or some people. Nine ayes.
All right, that's approved. We're back in open session. Item 25, reports 9/26/27 by the Licensing, Hearing, and Public Safety Committee, submitting findings of fact and conclusions of law based upon testimony and exhibits presented by the quasi-judicial hearing held on May 27th, 2026, regarding the licenses held by J.N. Cortez LLC, DBA Mi Ranchero 2, license number 3475 in the city of Sheboygan. Alder Borst.
I move to receive and accept the findings of fact and conclusions of law and revoke the Class B beer, Class B liquor, and amusement license number 3475 held by J.N. Cortez LLC, DBA Mi Ranchito 2.
It's been moved and seconded. Under discussion. Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Nine ayes.
That is approved. Item 26, resolution number 20325 by Alders Rust and Borst, approving the transfer of alcohol, beverage, and tobacco licenses. Alder Borst.
I move to file the resolution and deny the transfer.
It's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, another roll call vote.
Nine ayes.
That is approved. We've exhausted our agenda. What is the pleasure of the council? Alder Borst.
I move to adjourn.
Moved and second. All those in favor of adjournment state aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned at 6:41. Good night, everybody.